This week, a guest house with an avalanche of complaints.
The rooms have been spoilt by making them small.
It's as cheap and cheerless as you can get.
We've got a terrible breakfast, very average accommodation.
I'm not surprised if he'd put another bed up there if he could.
Poor staff attitudes, making it a very unpleasant stay.
This whole place is just vile. Horrible, horrible, horrible.
This is Blossoms, a 15-bedroom Georgian guest house in the centre of York. This historic city should be a hotel owner's dream location. With over 4 million tourists annually, there's plenty of year-round trade. But Blossoms isn't faring well. 28-year-old Richard Nuns bought Blossoms 2 years ago. But with a £500,000 mortgage, his investment is costing him his peace of mind.
When we bought it, the figures added up, but the figures adding up is one thing. The day-to-day thing of I'm spending all this money and I'm not getting any money back is very different.
The biggest problem is, for some reason, a high proportion of his guests are complaining.
Room's too small, the door locks don't work, got a terrible breakfast, everything very dated. The rooms have been spoilt by making them small. Very average accommodation, poor staff attitudes, making it a very unpleasant stay. When you look at the comments that guests leave, you'll find they're not just average, they're very, very unhappy. So there's obviously something going on that we haven't quite got a handle on.
Richard is at his wit's end.
These people, they book, then when they arrive, it wasn't what they're expecting. And unless we can overnight redecorate all the rooms, bash them down to make them twice the size, they're not going to be happy.
Enter renowned hotelier Ruth Watson. Her mission to stem the tide of complaints giving Blossoms a bad name.
Yeah, it's a very fine example of, I would say, late Georgian, early Victorian architecture. Very nice garden. Looks good.
But will the rest of the hotel get such a favourable review?
Hello there.
Oh, hi, hello. I'm Ruth. I think you're expecting me.
Hello, yes, Richard. Pleased to meet you. Pleased to meet
Pleased
you.
to meet you too. And is breakfast included in my room rate?
You've got a choice of either room only or including breakfast. The breakfast is £5 extra. That's for a full English breakfast, freshly cooked to order.
Okay.
After you.
Thank you.
Richard has reserved Blossom's largest room for Ruth.
How's this room for you? I know this is a family room, but you said you wanted a large room, didn't you?
I'm slightly dismayed by the number of beds. Have I got company? Is this what you... Are all the rooms like this with lots of beds?
Not at all, no. We've got 2 rooms that are big like this, 2 slightly smaller.
And because I'm going to be absolutely honest with you, just walking in and seeing this amount of beds, even though they're fairly neat and tidy, but it's slightly baffling, I have to say, that, and I appreciate somebody would have said, I want a room to sleep 6,
yes,
but I
sure.
Immediately think kind of youth hosteling and what have you, rather than guest house. How many people do you sleep at the most in any one time?
45.
Wow, that's a lot for one townhouse.
It's a big house.
Yeah, but that's a lot, gosh. Because I can't and won't and don't want to say to you, take a drop in income in order to be a better hotel.
Sure.
And so somehow or other we've got to make this marriage between occupancy levels which tie in with a reasonably good quality guest house. I appreciate you don't want to go the luxury route, that's fine.
Yes.
But what I'm seeing here visually is not compatible with what I would regard as a good quality guest house. Do you see what I mean? So
Right.
It's like, how do we get that level of money out of people that you need, because you certainly don't want to drop your income. Okay,
Anything you need, just give me
thanks,
shouts.
Richard. Yeah, all right,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Richard, thank you.
The hotel may be busy, but such basic rooms could threaten the business in the long run.
Very nice young man, obviously very together, especially on the business side, which is great. I think this is going to be something of a task, because how do we affect a change in the quality without actually taking out an enormous number of bed nights? It's a little problem for me. I mean, this just fills me with horror because I feel like I'm in a dormitory. But something to tackle.
Richard's fallen into a rut by thinking that piling in guests is the only route to profit. To understand what's really going on, Ruth needs to look around.
God. I'm just flabbergasted. Every bit of furniture is either from a jumble sale or the cheapest furniture warehouse you could find. What, 15 quid this unit? Who'll give me 5? No, if you want to put 6 people in a room like this, then do it. But don't moan about people complaining because, you know, I can't imagine, I say, how many people would want to be in this room? Not 2 people, never mind 6. Horrible, horrible, horrible.
If she was to say, okay, the only way forward is to have a total refurb, that would be an absolute nightmare because whilst in an ideal world I'd like to do that, I'd be very, very wary with taking on the extra finance to do that with.
Richard's reluctance to spend is already obvious to Ruth.
The owners have not spent any money on this whatsoever that I can see. It's as cheap and cheerless as you can get. I don't know what the rules about doss houses are like, but I suspect they're probably more stringent than this. It's a nightmare. I'm not often speechless, but this obsession about cramming more accommodation, more beds into rooms. Not surprised if he'd put another bed up there if he could. This whole place is just vile. It's just grim.
I'll listen to her criticisms and her comments. Obviously then I will also think about them myself.
There's just such an absence of taste in this place. You know, it's not how I'd want to spend the night, and I just don't think this is what a guest house in York should be about. I really don't.
It's the second day of Ruth's investigations at the Blossoms in York. As part of her quest to find out why so many guests are unhappy, she has spent the night in room 5.
I've had not a terribly good night, but Richard does do something very good, which is to put a guest survey form in the room. There isn't any box that says, do you think this is lovely? Would you want to come back? Does it offer more than just accommodation? And it doesn't.
The bedrooms weren't the only problem. Many guests also complained about the poor breakfast, shoddy service, and staff attitude.
I'm coming down to breakfast. I think Richard's cooking, so let's see whether he can do it.
Good morning. Can I get you anything to drink?
Yes, please. What have we got to?
Tea, coffee, we've got fruit teas as well. Help yourself to juice and cereals and
Okay,
toast.
so I'd like some tea, please.
Yep, certainly.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Richard.
For Richard, breakfast is another opportunity to keep costs at a minimum.
I was going to get some orange juice, but it's quite obviously not even fresh, fake orange juice. It's out of some kind of carton and ambient and looks, you know, that heavily pasteurised stuff. So I'm not going to have orange juice.
There you go.
Thank you. Tell
yes.
me, Richard, about your orange juice, because it doesn't look very prepossessing. Are we looking at freshly so-called squeezed in the cartons, or are we looking at long life ambient orange juice?
Long life orange juice.
Yes. Quite old-fashioned thing to do nowadays, you know.
Cost. If you show me somewhere where I can get
Cost.
fresh orange juice for 80p a litre, then I'll be delighted to use it.
I know. I understand that cost is very important to you. We
What
will
can I
talk.
get? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, what can I get for you in the way of cooked breakfast? Everything?
Yeah, the full Monty.
Yeah.
Yes.
What
yeah.
would you
No,
like? How would
not
you like your
baked
egg?
beans, though. I don't
No
like
beans. Okay.
them.
And fried egg poached egg scrambled.
Yeah, fried egg, please.
Certainly.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Ruth's complaining about the orange juice already, just by looking at it without tasting it. That's fair enough. Again, I shall wait to see what she thinks about the breakfast. Based on the quality of establishments that she's used to, probably she won't like the breakfast, but we shall see.
Hello. Did you cook this or did Richard cook it?
Richard did today.
Ah, right. Okay. Thank you very much. The mushroom's a bit dried up. I don't think there's been any butter anywhere near them. Sausage is cheap. It's like eating slightly spicy herbed breadcrumbs. Really, really cheap. The egg is pretty nicely cooked. It's quite a little bit crispy on the bottom, although I quite like that. But the yolk is really nice and creamy, so that's good. I think you could have a far worse breakfast than this one. In this particular case, I think he's paying far too much attention to the nuts and bolts of how to make money, and nothing like enough attention to guest satisfaction and pleasure and, just a little bit of the luxuries of life.
Some of the complaints have been levelled at Blossom's staff. Ruth has already identified that Richard's manner with customers is somewhat brusque.
I'm aware that some people think my communication skills are an issue. In particular, sometimes I know that I can be very blunt. If something's cut and dried, I won't beat about the bush. I'll just say what it is. I don't especially like to waste time adding flowery language to my speech.
Working alongside him, General Assistant Cheryl.
I help out with reservations, bookings and breakfast. My shift's 8 till 2. It can be very busy, start stressing out a little bit.
Assistant Manager Michał has been working at Blossom's since arriving from Poland.
When you're dealing with customers, obviously your English is very good, far better than my Polish, but does it ever cause any problems with people not understanding you?
Rather not. In the beginning, it was 9 out of 10 people was asking what I want from them. Now it is about 5 out of 10, so I don't know.
Finally, there's new boy Dean with little experience of hotel life. All staff share duties from cooking breakfast to manning reception. Their roles are not clearly defined and there's no established rota. It's time for Ruth to confront Richard with her findings.
For me, your biggest problem is how bloody good that building looks from outside and the fact you're in York.
Okay.
And almost the minute you walk through the front door, you've gone from that wonderful Georgian architecture and you're into wood chip wallpaper and dubious colour paint and, sort of cheap chandeliers and things. My experience had not even the merest hint of luxury about it. I think we should pick one of the rooms, perhaps even the one I was in. It's got 2 fabulous windows, full length, beautiful windows, which are currently festooned in this awful array of cheap net and pink curtaining. I mean, just rot. Let's put 1 double bed in there, just 1 set of bunk beds.
Yes.
It's going to make it look far more like a nice bedroom.
Ruth also wants the staff to present a united front.
One of the things I would like to suggest that we do is there's no brand image. Cheryl wears some disgusting sort of anorak track top thing. Not only does it look shabby, but it doesn't look like you're a unified team. It looks like you come off the street and just happened to walk into the house and decided you were going to serve someone breakfast. You're as proprietor, it's fine, you can be individual. I think every other member of the team ought to wear some very nice casual, so it says, with pride, I work at Blossom's, this is my job.
Ruth's plan to turn things around is straightforward. First, Richard must improve the quality of his rooms and lower the number of permanent beds. Second, he must raise the quality of his breakfast while keeping costs low. Finally, he must address the complaints about staff. She wants staff to wear a uniform so their appearance is more appropriate. They must establish a working rota with clearly defined roles and, most importantly, a professional attitude. But after spending 24 hours at Blossom's, Ruth has identified that the real problem lies not with the hotel, but with its proprietor.
I need to ask you, why did you want to come into this business? Because you don't strike me as being someone who's terribly comfortable with people.
Sure. I originally went into the hotels when I was a student, and it was a part-time job that I found I really enjoyed.
So you actually like customers?
You sound surprised.
Well, I am slightly surprised because there's some messages that are in your guest comment things that suggest that the hospitality isn't always everything it could be. Some of them say that there's over-familiarity. Some of them say it's cool and chill. Is this because you're displaying one fashion and the others are...
I don't think so, because that's something we've looked at before. And obviously when people arrive, we try to, myself and the staff, we try to gauge what they like and what level to speak to them at.
I don't think you were at all unpleasant, don't get me wrong, or even rude. But I think that we can actually do some technical things to kind of soften up your approach, because you obviously do like people. You've told me so, I believe it. And I'm really pleased you like being in hospitality, because that was one of the biggest questions I had, is should we be doing this at all?
Motivated by his talk with Ruth, Richard tackles the issues head-on and calls a staff meeting.
Says, okay, we need a uniform, number one, so there's a standard, and also to give some sort of corporate identity. My idea would just be coloured shirts with a choice of long sleeve or short sleeve with a small inconspicuous logo there.
Yeah. I think in a way it is a good to have a uniform, because it is smarter, but nothing over the top sort of like thing.
With the uniforms sorted out, Richard moves on to the thorny issue of working practice.
The other thing is to do with rotas. Okay, again, Ruth's comments were play to people's strengths, make it clear what people are supposed to be doing and when.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there were a few other specific things, but they're the main two.
So at the moment, I think we're quite higgledy-piggledy. We don't know what our main responsibility is. And I think if we have a main responsibility to work on, I think it'll be a lot better, so we understand which is our part, really.
Richard decides Cheryl should be responsible for housekeeping and Michal should run reception.
Well, he's given me the responsibility of the bedrooms, so that's mainly all the housekeeping and the room cleaning and cleanness and standard of the rooms. As Michal, he's got the office work. So sit on your bum job. To be honest, I can't put it any clearer than that, really. So what a big point giving us all these responsibilities if he's going to cut our hours down. I think that's a bit stupid, really. I think any less hours, and probably have to start looking for another job.
They both responded very well to the uniforms. They agree that it was a good idea. They're quite happy to wear them. And Michal especially is quite proud to wear his purple shirt. About the rotas and the responsibilities, everyone said, yep, good idea, we'll do this. The actions haven't quite as of yet spoken as loudly as the words, but that's something we just need to work on a bit.
Having dispensed with duties for the rest of the team, Richard heads out on a mission of his own, off to the local market in search of quality ingredients, instead of the low-cost frozen produce he usually serves.
In terms of the items, we might have a little play with vine tomatoes again, and also with the smaller flat mushrooms. Try it for a few weeks, see what guests think about it. If we suddenly get another... With the sausages, we've got a massive choice between the existing frozen ones and fresh ones. The fresh ones are about double the price. They've got a much shorter shelf life, although there is a possibility of freezing to extend that. It's basically a question of, is the increased quality worth paying double the price for?
So Richard's going to try out new tomatoes, mushrooms and sausages at a higher cost. Next on the shopping list, a new decorative scheme for the bedrooms. But Richard's the first to admit he has few interior design skills.
This straight away, I like the look of, but I guess that's only because it's a bit like what we've already got in room 8. Excuse me. What do you know about curtains? Greens? Yeah, from what I saw, I'd say yes, there were some things that I definitely liked. Yes, there was things I definitely didn't like. But as to what I like and what would look nice, they're possibly two different things completely.
1 month later, Ruth is back to check up on Richard's progress, and the new staff uniforms have arrived.
What did they think? Did they help choose?
Yes. There wasn't anybody who was majorly anti-uniform.
Right.
Everyone thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
And pretty much everyone agreed on purple.
Very good. No, I think that's a really good idea. I do think it will help the team building. I know it sounds like a facile thing to say, but I do actually think it's certainly good for guests because they want to...
The other thing that came out with the staff meeting that I wasn't especially aware of is the fact of guests realising who's staff and who's guests.
Absolutely. No, I mean, absolutely. That's number one priority. They don't know. I mean, if somebody, especially on a summer's day, and you're walking around in short-sleeve shirts, I mean, you could easily be a tourist yourself.
Sure.
And so this actually says, yeah, I work here, and you can, ask me questions, and I'll give you helpful advice and blah, blah, blah. So, no,
The uniforms meet with Ruth's approval. But what about improving the cut-price breakfast?
Well,
Richard is still convinced that investing in breakfast is a waste of time, so he challenges Ruth to a blind taste test. Can she tell the difference between high and low-cost orange juice, sausages and mushrooms?
And then just a couple of minutes. I think this one so obviously looks more like a real sausage, don't you think? Instantly better. Let's try this one. I don't like that one. Plasticky and chewy, isn't it? A bit more wrinkly, but actually looks real.
That's the expensive UHT one.
So I was kind of right. So I'm pleased about it. I think it's the acidity in this that I quite like.
With the more expensive options winning hands down, Richard is simply going to have to pay more to keep the customer satisfied.
Ruth gave us some good ideas, which we are going to try. I'm personally not 100% convinced with the amount of oil used and also with the adding salt to everything. But we're going to try on a couple of weekends, early breakfast on one day, new breakfast on another day, and see what the guests think.
Next, it's time for Richard to show Ruth the curtains and carpets he's chosen for room 5. She wanted him to go for simple, classic colours that complement the period features.
That's my nursery window fabric. There you go.
No, this is the Chinese restaurant fabric. This is not a nursery. No, I'm sorry. This is sending out for me completely the wrong. It's not just traditional. It's kind of that fusty, slightly boring. Doesn't do it for me at all, I have to say. Definitely let's start with the windows. They're such a wonderful feature. I don't think we should have net curtains, and certainly not net curtains with such a heavy embroidery in them, because again, they obscure anything out there, and you've actually got a marvellous view.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think that's, you come in the room, they're the first things you see, they are marvellous architecturally. That's where I would start. The bed, personally, I think should be where you are. There, the double bed. And then the bunk beds coming on this wall here, where they're almost tucked behind the edge of the bathroom, so they don't come out in the room. Do you see what I mean? That line keeps them back here. Do you know what I mean?
Yep, okay.
Whereas at the moment, they're actually,
that's a good idea.
They're really forcing their way into the room. If they're over here, they're much more
as much out of the way as bunk beds can be.
Yeah, but I do think that this idea of having fixed number of beds in the room just makes it look like a hostel.
Richard Nuns owns Blossoms in York, a 15-room guest house that's been getting dozens of complaints.
We've got a terrible breakfast, very average accommodation, poor staff attitudes, making it a very unpleasant stay.
He's at his wit's end about the guests' criticism.
These people, they book, then when they arrive, it wasn't what they're expecting, and unless we can overnight redecorate all the rooms, bash them down to make them twice the size, they're not going to be happy.
He's called on Ruth Watson, the renowned hotelier, to see if she can tackle the customers' grievances and turn Blossom's hostility into hospitality.
Hello there.
Oh, hi, hello.
There have been complaints about the staff, and Ruth thinks Richard's shyness can come across as rudeness.
So you actually like customers?
You sound surprised.
Ruth has also been trying to improve Blossom's breakfast and the hotel's decor, including the number of beds crammed into every room.
How many people do you sleep at the most in any one time?
45.
Wow!
Ruth has instructed him to lose one set of permanent bunk beds and make the most of the room's original Georgian features, especially the windows. The decor should be fresh and modern while complementing the style of the building.
I just went to had a look in the room. I opened the door about so much and then closed it again because it was an absolute nightmare. Wallpaper, paint, dust absolutely everywhere. I'm glad it's not me that's painting it. The best case scenario for the room is that it looks absolutely wonderful, still sleeps 6 people, has indestructible furniture, unstainable carpets. Everyone goes in and say, wow, this is fantastic, we must tell all our friends. The worst case scenario would be that everything looks great as soon as it's done, but within 2 weeks, this is broken, that's broken. The sort of sort of people that are using those rooms, families and groups of people, they're not really bothered that thing might look nice and break easily. They're going to go clack, 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 clack. So I'm just hoping that whatever is put in there is suitably practical and hard-wearing.
And while the room is transformed, Richard undergoes a makeover of his own. His brusque manner gave Ruth cause for concern, so she's arranged for him to spend the day at a seminar in social skills.
Hello.
Hello there.
You must
Heather.
be Richard. Hello,
Yes,
I'm
nice to meet
Heather.
you.
It should also teach him how to be more authoritative and assertive with his staff. First up, creating a good initial impression.
So I come in, and instead of turning round, I push the door behind me, and then we go forward and say, hello, how are you? And you do not say, pleased to meet you. You say, how do you do?
How do you do?
How do you do? How do you do?
Good morning.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Have a seat, please. That was better. More confident, more cheerful. And sit up straight with your back to the chair. Come on, dup, dup, dup. You need a book on your head. At the moment, he seems to, want to shy away from clients, saying he only meets them a very small amount of the time. Well, maybe he ought to make sure that he does meet them for a greater amount of time. And I think this will help him develop more confidence, because if you go to a hotel, you expect to see the person in charge of it. You do not expect to have to creep round trying to find someone who just might or might not be the hotel manager. You should have some distinguishing feature that immediately says, I am the manager stroke owner. That's it. Go forward slightly with the hand outstretched.
How do you do?
He needs to develop more of a physical presence. And that doesn't suddenly mean he's got to grow to be 6'6". You don't need to do that. But you need to know that you are making that impression on people.
Today was great fun. I learnt a few things. Obviously, rapport with the guests is very important. You can have the nicest hotel in the world, but if it doesn't have the staff that go with it, then people think it's very clinical and sterile. Charm isn't really a word in my vocabulary. I see it more as rapport with the guests and communication with the guests.
Ruth was concerned with the number of complaints about customer service. So she's arranged for John, an expert in phone manner and communications, to give the Blossoms team a crash course in speaking to the public.
Hi, nice to meet you. Hello, Dee. John, hi. Words, phrases.
Richard's somewhat curt manner can come across as cold and inhospitable. A phone call from a guest wanting to change a booking gives John a chance to see him in action.
Speaking. Okay, fine. Are you wanting to swap it for another date, or is it just a cancellation? Yes, perfect. Roughly what time do you think you'll be arriving, please? About 6ish. Okay, perfect. And also just to let you know that we only allow changes once. If it was after that, then we would enforce our cancellation policy. Okay, great. We look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Thank you for calling. Bye now. What?
Interesting. Any thoughts? We all had the benefit of listening in. What do you think?
The first 3/4 of the conversation I thought was really good, but it was just that end bit seemed quite sharp.
Right. From his point of view, theoretically, it's all good news, isn't it?
Yes.
You've actually done him a favour. And yet he might feel that at the end he got a final written warning. Sort of. Just because of the way it came across. I thought maybe just a little bit too loud, just at the very end there. But
Next up is Michal. John retires to another room and makes a test call to see how he deals with a customer. As English isn't Michal's first language, it's vital he's clear and precise.
What sort of rate can you do?
Give me a second, please. I will have a look for you.
Thanks.
So, can I take the booking then?
Yes. Well, sorry, did you give me a price?
the tone of voice was nice. I could hear the smile.
So the price would
Could hear the smile. Some of the words hard to catch, to be fair, which is it's a nice accent.
Michal was obviously mega stressed when he was doing his phone call, so I'm not really going to pay much attention to that. I think the comments that John made to Michal about bearing things in mind to do with his accent and listening to people clearly and making sure that he himself is understood and ways of getting around that. Hopefully Michal will take that on board, and that'll be benefit both to Michal and to the hotel.
Okay, come on through. Come on down, Michal.
So Richard's been told to soften his tone and sound more positive, while Michal needs to continue to improve his language skills and keep calm under pressure. Two weeks later, the transformation of room 5 is nearly complete, just in time for Ruth's return.
I've come back to see how Richard's getting on at Blossoms. We've left him with doing up a room to see whether we can really improve the look and feel of the place. He's got issues with breakfast and all other things like this, but the main thing that I'm worried about is, can Richard be a hotelier with all the warmth and generosity that implies? It's important to love your customer, to make them feel comfortable, to be warm. At the moment, he's very, very orderly, but he's not a natural hotelier. I want to see whether he has embraced the whole notion of hospitality.
First on the agenda, breakfast. Richard received complaints about its poor standard, so Ruth suggested he improve the quality of his ingredients. But what do the customers think?
You got the new tongs I sent you?
Indeed, yes, thank
Good.
you, very nice.
They do make a difference, don't they? Not having to faffle around. So what changes are we making to breakfast?
Okay, some of the things you suggested we've done, some of them we decided not to.
Okay, what are we doing?
Sausages have changed.
Yeah.
Juices have been upgraded.
Yeah.
Mushrooms are pretty much the same as before.
So dried up or bit of rubbish, yeah?
Not at all, not at all. They're grilled, low-fat mushrooms.
Okay, yes, well there's no fat in a mushroom, so it's not hard to make them low-fat, actually.
Indeed.
But it is easy to dry them up. How did you fare on the cost element of all this? Because you said you've upgraded the orange, upgraded the sausage.
Yes, sure. The sausages, we've got a reduction in price from the butcher, and we've got slightly smaller sausages.
Okay.
So we've kept the cost difference minimal, so we can absorb that.
Yeah.
And the new juices, although they're much more hassle to buy, they're actually cheaper than the other ones.
Ha! There we go. And how is anyone responding positively to these changes, or neutral? Or how's it going?
People are saying the breakfast is good, and no one's complaining.
Good.
Very good. Good quality. My husband's been tucking in every morning to cook breakfast, which he doesn't normally do at home, so it's very good.
Breakfast was very nice, yes. Especially the bacon. Bacon tastes good.
Very nice, especially the sausage and the bacon.
Yeah. The tea is nice too. Yeah.
The new breakfasts are a hit. Next, room 5. Previously home to 6 permanent beds, it didn't make the most of the period features.
So have you been very busy, Richard?
Always very busy. Always
Yeah, that's
very busy.
good. Well, that's fabulous.
Richard's original plans for the room didn't go down too well with Ruth, so what will she make of his second stab at interior design? Now it has a classical style that befits the building, and with cleverly concealed extra beds, there's more room for the guests.
So, let's see. Oh, gosh!
It's a big change, isn't it?
Oh, Richard! This is such... I mean, you can see the room now.
Indeed, yes.
I mean, before it was like some kind of YMCA bedstock room. Oh, what a difference. I love the wallpaper. Gosh, it's marvellous, isn't it? And the light, I love the blinds. Really do. I mean, you can really see the town. Look at all that lovely stuff out there that you can now see.
But the thing I like with the colour on the walls is that, like, things like the picture rail and the size of the windows and the lamp, where before they looked not nice, just by changing the colour of the walls, and now they stand out and they look really
Everything
beautiful,
stands out. You can see it's actually, you know, at least half of a fantastic room. For me, the real... Well, there's a lot of things, but I love the fact you can see this is a Georgian building, you know, with the windows
absolutely.
and the shutter things underneath and the architrave and all that. It just looks like a fine room now. And the fact that 2 people could sleep in here without feeling particularly offended by that, 4 people, you know, with their children or whatever, I mean, happy as Larry in here now, because you're not thinking, when are the other 2 bastards going to turn up? Are you? I mean, it's wonderful. So these beds have got this wonderful facility to pull out on either side.
Yes, that's right. It's They're just on wheels, and they're also
Look
a
at
full-size
that.
bed.
Easy as kiss your hand. But I mean, the thing is, it is actually satisfying what you wanted. This still can sleep 6 people. You're not losing a single customer, which was your real worry, was if we made the rooms look nice. I mean, has this given you any confidence that you could move around the building and do a few more in this sort of vein?
Having seen this, what I'd really like to do would be to get another building that's not been a hotel before and do all the rooms to this sort of standard.
It wasn't just the rooms that needed a new look. Ruth wanted Richard to provide his staff with a uniform so customers could tell who they were and to help foster a team spirit.
I've seen all the staff wearing their purple shirts with a degree of pride. How has the whole staffing issue been going? Have you been bonding together? Have they been working hard?
Mixed. I think most people, have taken on the changes and really want to develop things to the next level, but it's not universal. Cheryl's now just doing the housekeeping.
Right, and how's she getting on with that?
Her comment to me was that she doesn't want to be cleaning rooms for the rest of her life, which is fair enough. But here, with the combination of the hours that she can work and what she's demonstrated she can do, that's the only position that I've got available for her.
Ruth's keen to find out what Cheryl thinks.
Hello, Cheryl. Hiya. You're doing a good job up there. How are you doing? Come and talk to me.
Okay.
How's this housekeeping thing going? Because you were doing part reception and now I believe that you're fully in charge of the housekeeping. Is that right?
Yes, I am now, yes. I think it's just when we're full, really, I struggle getting the rooms ready, especially in keeping on the jobs that you see me doing and things like that.
Now, I know there was a question of that Richard had about your reliability and sometimes letting him down and being late and what have you. But he says you had a very good chat about this a little while ago.
Did,
and cleared the air a bit.
Yeah, we did.
So what did you feel that you got out of that conversation with Richard? I mean, was he listening to your problems? I mean...
Yeah, I think the main cost was with me starting at 8 o'clock on a morning. Now, I have a little boy, so I do struggle getting up on time and getting him up on time. So 8:30 is a really good time for me now. And it's worked out really well.
Time for Ruth and Richard to take stock.
Because one of the things, obviously, we've been trying to do with you is to get you, as a hotelier, to deal with crisis better and with complaints better and to feel more assured about how you deal with it and to perhaps not piss the customer off so much in the way that you're doing it. I'm really happy with the progress you've made about breakfast. I think the room looks fabulous. You did take the wind out of my sails considerably when you said that, you loved it, but you could see the downsides in terms of damage and marks and that you would have to trial it for 3 months and see how it went. I kind of thought you'd really latch onto it with huge enthusiasm.
If people, they do respect the property in the rooms, they do say, yes, it is practical to have the white linen, to have the smooth walls, then yes, great. But I don't want to go in all willy-nilly, spend, I don't know, £10,000 to have another 5 or 6 rooms done straight away, just to find in 6 months' time it's money down the drain because they're all in just as bad a state again.
Right.
After weeks of effort, Blossoms has taken on a more relaxed and friendly atmosphere. But it remains to be seen whether Richard's done enough to ensure future customers don't complain. For the last 4 months, Ruth Watson has been trying to turn Blossoms in York from hostel to hotel and transform owner Richard into a real host with pride in his property.
Well, I'm about to see how Richard's getting on at Blossoms. He's got to have carried on with the makeover and somehow looking at the net curtains, I don't think that's happened. And most importantly, is he now satisfying those customers? Are they happy with what he's doing?
One major cause of customer dissatisfaction was the state and size of the rooms. 6 months ago, Laura and Daniel stayed at Blossoms for 2 nights. They were so unhappy they complained to Richard in writing about their tiny room, the tired decor, and the unfriendly staff. With so many changes since in both the hotel and its staff, Ruth has invited them back to sample the new look blossoms.
So Dan and Laura, last time you came, you didn't have a very good experience because my understanding is that when you first came, you really were disappointed and you let Richard know in no uncertain terms that you didn't think...
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he sent me an email survey, so I filled it in and said that I wasn't particularly impressed.
So what had
with
been the
with whole thing.
problems?
It was mainly the room. It was a bit strange and dated and cramped, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was
very small.
So once you'd seen this room and thought, did you try and avoid it as much as possible?
Yeah, we just dropped our bags off and went out and then came back, slept and then went out again in the morning.
Yeah.
But will Richard have done enough to impress them after their last terrible stay?
So any special event or just getting a couple of days away?
Ruth has arranged for them to stay in the newly refurbished Room 5. It's the moment of truth for Richard. Can he win over a sceptical Daniel and Laura?
What do you think?
Very nice.
Yeah, it's
a bit of change.
Isn't it? It's very fresh. And, I like your patterned wallpaper and that's good.
Indeed.
Yeah, lovely.
Can I get you a tea or coffee or anything now?
I think we'll just use what you've got over there on the tray, if that's all right.
Perfect.
Cool.
Well, make yourselves at home. Anything you need, just give me a shout.
Yeah, I'll take my bag off and make ourselves at home, I think. Cheers.
After a night in Room 5, Daniel and Laura enjoy the improved breakfast. But what's the final verdict?
Staff are more welcoming, the whole place is more welcoming, the room's a lot nicer and, yeah, big improvement all round, I think.
Richard was a bit more forthcoming than he was before, and they cleared out a little bit of the clutter. If they do up the whole hotel to the same standard as the room we stayed in, then we'd definitely come back, yeah.
Daniel and Laura can finally leave as satisfied customers, but Ruth still has some concerns about Richard's attitude to hospitality.
I want you to really care about this, and I know that you don't care about it as much as I care about it. That's just a given. But you have got a beautiful building, and I know that even within the limitations of still wanting to trade it with lots of people in lots of rooms and things, it can still look much better than it does. In terms of the refurbishment, I mean, can I go away feeling quite secure that you really have bought into the idea of making changes to the way the rooms look?
The biggest change in investment which we've made since your first visit, which maybe you haven't even picked up on so much, is that we have taken on a guy specifically to do that on a full-time basis.
Right.
So our speed is basically the speed that he's working at.
Right, but you have bought into the idea that the rooms do need to be upgraded in some way, yeah? In terms of the future, we've talked in the past about you buying another hotel and that this canvas isn't big enough for you. And as I've said time and time again, you are above anybody I've worked with, the person who is most able to control costs, who understands the business side of running a hotel, keeps everything very, very shipshape in the financial and the business structure. But where you're lacking for me is the visual eye about caring about what things look like, right? I'd like you to care more about things looking nice. And we've talked also about the customer appreciation and you feeling a bit shy with people and what have you. But you know that now, don't you? And you're making some progress, yeah?
Yeah.
Richard may not love his hotel, but he's come a long way in 5 months.
I think I've got him to see that the building needs to look as nice as customers want it to. It's a bit argy-bargy there, I'm not sure I've totally convinced him. But all in all, he runs a very nice hotel, and as long as he keeps remembering that the customer is the important thing and to embrace them both physically and metaphorically, I think he's going to be really successful.
The 14-bedroom Merlin Court Hotel in the seaside town of Ilfracombe. Owned and run by the Shears family. 59-year-old Mike his wife, Helen.
It's quite a lot to do.
And their daughter, Karina.
Dad, there's a leak in the shower.
Mum to 2-year-old Samuel. The family bought the Merlin 13 years ago. and immediately set about conjuring up Ilfracombe's answer to Camelot.
We decided that we would give it a Gothic feel based on the Avalon theme.
It is medieval because it's got fleur-de-lis on it. It just makes it a bit more ambience.
We play medieval music through the speakers.
We do a chicken Guinevere, which we've named it after the hotel because it's medieval, which is nice.
King of the castle is Dad Mike, who dedicates his every waking hour to the hotel.
He gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning, most mornings.
Take all the telephone calls. Hello, Monaco Hotel, Mike speaking.
He does all the maintenance on the buildings.
The gardening. I'm front of house. Yeah, it's a beautiful coastline, so you will enjoy it. And I also do a lot of the cooking. I'll do the breakfast and I'll wait tables in the morning. Thank you very much.
But Mike complains that not all the family share his work ethic.
I sort of feel like I've had enough, really.
Particularly daughter Karina, who, with her son Sam, moved back into the family home 2 years ago after separating from her husband.
I decided, well, let's work with Mum and Dad, and it went quite well for a little while.
The problem with a family business is, you've got no way really of sacking a family member.
That's a bit of a bone of contention between us all. If it's busy and they need help, then I help.
Mike had hoped the hotel would provide a future for his family and pay for his and Helen's retirement. But instead, the debts and bad reviews have piled up and occupancy rates have nosedived.
It's probably down in single figures, say 7%, something like that. Pretty dreadful, really. If it doesn't succeed, it'll just have to be sold off for a pittance, basically, and that would be, really upsetting.
Enter the hotel inspector. Alex Polizzi has run some of the most exclusive establishments in the world. Can she make the Merlin the stuff of legend?
Gosh, well, I'm trying to think how I would describe this decor, apart from old-fashioned. That is a really nasty statuette. There's just too much stuff. There's no room to breathe. What on earth does this add to the room? That is what I'd like to know. What do the teddies add to the room? Nothing. They just didn't have anywhere else to put it, so it's ended up here. See, I'm already angry and I haven't got past the entrance yet.
It's a poor first impression, not helped by Alex's experiences before she'd even arrived.
Hello? Mike?
Hello, yes, I'm
Hi,
Mike.
Alex Polizzi.
You phoned us all right?
Yes, I did.
Good,
I had a little bit of a hiccup because I tried to call you the other night and I couldn't get through to you because although the phone rang, then there was just a message saying the person you've called is unavailable.
Oh, sorry about that, yes. Really what should have happened is my daughter being here, actually sort of in the building, should have been taking care of it rather than me.
So it's her fault?
It is really.
Good, okay, as long as we have someone to blame, that's fine.
To try and find out where the Shears family are going wrong, Alex will stay the night.
There we are.
And for his special guest, Mike's reserved his premier room.
Well, it's certainly quite over the top.
Well, thank you. Yes, it was at the time we needed the wow factor, so we picked the border and then we decorated the room to sort of tone in with the border. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Well, thank you very much, Mike.
No worries.
All right, lovely.
Thank you.
Bye. I don't know where to begin. I mean, who on earth has ever heard of decorating a room around a border? I mean, apart from the fact that nobody in their right mind would put crimson red and emerald green on one wall together, there are so many decorating faux pas that he has completely ripped up the decorating manual and invented his own. This green painted frame that's emphasising what exactly? The picture behind the wardrobe. I mean, Merlin. It may give some young boy a stiffy, the idea of coming to an Arthurian-themed hotel, but any adult normally that I know would run a mile. That is, unless they're into the whole dressing up thing.
The hotel has 14 bedrooms, all en suite, with prices up to £75 per night, bed and breakfast.
Well, this idea of decorating according to the colours that are in a border, this is why it's such a wrong idea. It's just an ugly combination. It astonishes me that a hotel can still have a bedroom like this and survive.
But a greater horror lurks behind the door of room 1, now used for storage.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's been ruined already. And it's never even been put up. Look. This mess, what value is anything in here to anybody anymore? This is pure laziness.
Further frustrations await along the corridor.
Oh, God. I feel really sorry for Helen and Mike because they are lagging so far behind. How they manage to keep going, I have no idea. I know that in this town, for £70 a night, you can get a lot better than this. There is not one nice thing in any of the rooms I've looked at. If you want your wife to divorce you, bring her here for a sexy weekend. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to suggest to them. I think this is about as dire as you can get.
The struggling Merlin Court Hotel in Ilfracombe, run by Mike Shears, his wife Helen and daughter Karina. With occupancy rates plunging into single figures, they've called on renowned hotelier Alex Polizzi to help save their business from disaster. She's been less than impressed with the Merlin's medieval motif, and after a comfortable night's sleep, more decorating delights await her as she heads to breakfast.
Come, warm yourself at my medieval hearth. I mean, it's a joke. Let's roast a suckling pig or two. It's ridiculous.
So will the most important meal of the day have better taste?
One of my specialities is breakfast, yes. Yeah, people seem to enjoy it.
Is that coffee, do you think? Thank you, Don.
Alex's breakfast that she's having today is going to be, she's going to be pleased with it, I think.
Yeah.
That doesn't look very appealing, does it, somehow? I wouldn't order it again, let's put it that way. I don't think I'll eat it, actually. And very, very salty bacon. This is just a breakfast that you don't get anymore because we all try harder. It's as if they're caught in a time warp. Mike, I'd like to know whether in the 13 years that you've been here, you've changed your food offering at breakfast very much.
Yeah, well, we just increased the number of cereals that we offer, but really the breakfast has stayed the same. And the reason for that is really we've never had any sort of adverse comments about breakfast, to be quite honest.
No, darling, but it's the world has moved on.
Yeah.
There's never been a complaint, so you keep your breakfast the same for 13 years. He might not have had a complaint, but the fact that his occupancy rate is in single figures could have possibly have suggested to him that there were things that he could be doing better than he is to try and attract some of those customers back. He's not a kind of dynamic force of nature, is he? He's kind of quite kind and sweet and nice, probably rather ineffectual. Karina clearly doesn't do much around the place, and I'm not sure what Helen does either.
Bending all the time, I get a bit of a bad back. I do love the place, but I don't like all the work, really.
I'm so busy with my child, and Mum's kind of lost a bit of, enthusiasm for the place. So my dad has to work quite hard to get us going sometimes.
With their business and home on the line, it's clear to Alex that the Shears family are in need of some tough love. She gathers them together at the Merlin's round table to lay out her ideas for the salvation of the seaside hotel.
I think, you need a shaking up. In fact, I think you all need a good kind of rattling and say, come on.
First on her hit list, their pride and joy, the decor, which Alex feels needs radically updating.
So the medieval theme. I think possibly it's time to accept that not everyone else likes it as much as you. I mean, this isn't a particularly inviting room to sit in, I have to say, and we could make much more of it.
Alex wants the Shears to cut the Camelot theme and clear out the clutter. She also thinks the creation of a new room could tap into an overlooked customer base.
I think you must tap into the family market. I would like, though, to see you do what every other hotel that wants to tap into the family market does, and that is provide a playroom.
Next, the Merlin's breakfast, currently stuck in the dark ages.
It's disappointing to me and inexplicable that you've just gone on churning out the same old thing. You watch television, you read the newspapers. What are the words everyone talks about? They talk about local, they talk about organic, they talk about food miles, they talk about...
What you're saying really, that the menu's at fault to a great extent.
The menu and the ingredients.
Finally, with the business on the line, she wants the whole family to raise their game and start working as a team.
So room number 1, it is a junk room, and that is a sign to me of just how lazy the whole operation has become.
It's the time element.
But darling, all you've got is sodding time. You're not busy. What do you have except 2 hands and time? I suggest that you do a rota. And I include you in this because while you live under this roof, you have to pull your weight, darling. You've been very quiet during this process, Mike. I was hoping for a bit more of a fight from you.
What you've suggested is fine, really.
I don't want it's fine, because that is actually not what I'm looking for. It is going to be a lot of effort to do this.
Yeah, of course.
So it's either, yes, that is a good idea, let's give it a go, or no, actually, leave us as we are because I'd rather things were like this.
Fine was perhaps the wrong word to use, really. Yeah, she thought I was not totally committed to what she was suggesting, and that wasn't the case. It was just really a poor choice of words. Yeah. It's going to be banished from my vocabulary from now on, that word.
With Alex's plan ringing in his ears, Mike heads off in search of local suppliers in an effort to perk up his puny sausage.
I haven't seen such a depressing, dingy offering for years. He just has to get on and move with the times.
These are the ones that are ready to go in the shop now.
Yeah.
He also sets about the DIY like a man possessed. Opening up space for a new playroom at one end of the dining room. Meanwhile, Helen makes a slightly less enthusiastic effort at decluttering.
I don't want to get rid of too much because it's the sort of character of the place.
Of course, I'm really worried Helen isn't going to bite the bullet and get rid of all the tat around the place.
Well, I like the fireplace. I don't see that there's anything wrong with it.
She has to accept that most of what it's doing is trapping the dust.
Some of the silk flowers, I've just bought those literally not long ago. They're like real roses. I'm not going to get rid of things like that, so... I don't think there's anything too offensive with candles.
As for creating a rota to spread the workload more evenly, it's not quite the sea change that Alex or Mike had been hoping for.
I'm doing 12 hours a week, and my mum, it's similar with her really. And with Dad, I've just literally put that he's working from 6 in the morning till 6 at night, Monday through to Sunday, you know, all day, every day.
The imbalance is threatening to drive a wedge between father and daughter.
The situation's getting worse than ever now. I can only see two outcomes, really. One is that everybody pulls together and we become a family in all ways, or that we become totally estranged from one another.
The Merlin Court Hotel in the seaside town of Ilfracombe, run by the Shears family. Dad Mike had hoped the hotel would provide a future for his family and an income for his retirement. But after 13 years, the Merlin has lost its magic. Occupancy rates are in single figures, and they've been hit hard by bad reviews.
Those stupid tossers that came and...
Yeah.
In desperation, they've called on the help of renowned hotelier Alex Polizzi, who set them the challenge of transforming their cluttered, Gothic-themed hotel into a first-rate family B&B. She wants a new playroom created. The dated decor deleted.
Some of the flowers I've got rid of, which I'm going to dump in a bag and send to the charity shop.
And the flaccid breakfast uplifted.
These are cooking up lovely. Nice and even. Hopefully she'll be very impressed.
2 months after laying out her plan, Alex is back, anticipating big changes.
I'm expecting to be wowed by the breakfast. I'm expecting a lot of the Arthurian junk and the extraneous objects to have disappeared. But most of all, I'd like to see that Helen and Karina are taking on their share of the work.
Put the kettle on.
And relieving some of the responsibilities from Mike's shoulders.
Thank you. Would you like to take
Thanks,
a seat
darling.
there, Alex?
First to come under the hotel inspector's scrutiny is Mike's new and improved breakfast.
All in the wrist meat, that, see? The new sausage seems to swell up in the pan. Comes larger and larger as time goes on. So that's excellent.
This is a mess. I wonder if they only did it this morning, because I cannot understand why on earth you would have me faced with this.
Oh, shall I do that? Because I know where it goes. I've got a certain system how I lay it all out.
Alex.
Thank you.
Enjoy it.
That looks like a very nice plateful and a much more decent sausage.
It's handmade in Barnstable from a local supplier in Ilfracombe. It's farm eggs.
It is a farm egg,
They're
good.
delivered fresh as soon as they're laid from the farm. We get them delivered.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. I shall look forward to trying it. Thank you. That is a huge improvement, believe me. All this looks quite nice, and Mike seems quite proud of it. So he's done his bit. I wonder if the girls have been quite so proactive.
Alex finds her answer next door.
Oh, I mean, what a bloody mess. Oh my God. Please tell me that wasn't bought new. It's worse than what was there before. I mean, you know, I'm speechless. I left them with the plan to declutter. I'm not entirely sure they understood what I was talking about.
The future of the Merlin Court is on the line, and the family have failed to take the decisive action Alex had hoped for. Even Mike's new playroom can't make up for the clutter.
This is a great idea. It's fab, but completely ruined by the effect that the rest of the room has on me. What am I going to say to them to make them understand what is at stake here?
The Shears family are in danger of losing their home and livelihoods. Alex calls a crisis meeting.
I have to say, all in all, I'm pretty disappointed with what I found today. Great, you've started clearing out a bit, but not as much as you could have done.
No, okay.
The breakfast has been started, but how long does it take to put a bloody menu on a computer? You've done the kiddie playroom, but everything's a sodding mess. It has been 4 weeks since you last had a guest here. It has been 2 months since I last visited you. I don't know what you've been doing in this time, darlings.
Well, we looked at the list of things we had to do, and we've done all of the things that were asked. And I've been poorly in my defence, actually, in the last few weeks, but I don't suppose that's a very good excuse, but I have.
The problem that Queen has got, really, is she doesn't see the big picture so well. So she's got a good life here. She's got, you know, people that look after Sammy, love Sammy, and we support her, but she isn't supporting us back, really. That's the way I feel about it, really.
Do you think that's unfair?
I don't know. I'm trying to stay here to help my family, that's all. And I know that I might not be the best of help, but I'm still kind of here to save my dad having to pay someone else, and I know that I don't pull my weight enough. That is a fact, I know that.
My only interest is trying to keep this business so that you have a house over your heads and you have some way of surviving. Grass the nettle, darling. You know, you've got me here not very long. I think, yes, I probably was a bit more brutal than I would usually be. But the reality is, their business is going to go down the tubes, and their livelihood with it, and their home with it. But I hope that somehow we've turned a corner and that this is actually going to make a difference.
Comes to a head, doesn't it, after a while? Alex wants to see, you know, drive and enthusiasm from us all now, and, you know, that's what, that's what she'll get.
With the family's assurance that they'll raise their game, Alex has come up with a plan to drag their occupancy rates out of single figures. She wants to hold a kids' fun day at the hotel to promote their family-friendly facilities, as well as inviting 3 families to stay the night, who, if impressed, might write some much-needed positive reviews. But there's a long way to go before Alex is ready to open up Merlin Court to public scrutiny. Step 1, get the Shears family working as a team. She's sending them out on a mission.
So, I would like 3 projected itineraries. So if someone came and stayed here for a long weekend, let's say, with their kids, what they could do for 3 days. So basically do all the thinking for people, okay?
Yeah.
Bye! Have fun!
And while they're away, Alex can take matters into her own hands.
I am very excited about doing this. Just the money they must have spent on scatter pillows is bonkers. I mean, please, why would you do that? Ugh. Ugh. Ugh.
Alex has decided drastic action is required. She intends to thoroughly declutter the hotel and then completely redesign the dining room and play area, obliterating the gloomy Gothic theme.
This
is a goner, and this has got to go.
Meanwhile, the family are investigating what Ilfracombe has to offer in the way of family fun.
So we've got the aquarium, which is down up here.
Yeah,
We've got the tunnels.
Right, yeah, super.
Who thinks that that is pretty? Use it to beat Mike with.
What about the cinema? Is there any films for children at all?
We don't actually run as a cinema anymore.
Oh, you don't?
No,
Oh, I
we
didn't
don't.
know
We
that.
haven't done that for a couple of years. But
I really hope that Helen, Mike and Karina are having a nice day out, first of all, but also that they're remembering why people come to Ilfracombe. People don't just come here to stay with them, they come here to have fun.
Once Alex has vanquished the Merlin's knickknacks, her decorating team materialise.
I keep thinking about the fact that they chose to decorate their rooms according to the borders that they chose, which, you know, that's the first time I've been surprised in a long time by anything anyone said.
In addition to the dining room and play area, Alex also wants to make over one of the depressing bedrooms to provide an inexpensive template for the family to follow.
Now, they obviously have no taste. They definitely need my help to show them what to do in a room, to see what a proper modern bedroom should look like. And they've got no money, so I've got to do it on the cheap. But actually, I think that will be doing them a favour because there'll be no extra cash to buy more crap. Like this.
But what will Mike, Helen and Karina make of the new look Merlin, purged of their own personal taste?
Wow, look at this.
Wow.
Alex and her team have practiced their alchemy, turning Merlin Court's dining room from dingy and cramped with Camelotian clutter to a light, bright and breezy eating space, much more befitting the seaside establishment.
Is it the same room? That's what I want to know.
No, totally different, isn't
It
it?
is.
One half of the old dining room has become a chic new lounge.
We think we're quite good at interior design, don't we?
When you look at this, we're not.
No.
Perfect for parents to chill out in, while their kids amuse themselves next door, where Mike's new playroom is now unrecognisable.
Oh my God.
Oh, look.
I actually feel speechless.
And room 1 has been turned from a dumping ground for detritus into an appealing and valuable letting room that the Shears can take inspiration from. Merlin Court looks like a whole new hotel, and now it's down to the family to take advantage.
Hi Alex, how are you?
I'm very well. I'm wondering what you think of your new dining room and the playroom.
Oh, it's fantastic, Alex.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
I'm so pleased you're happy. Listen, you know I've got 3 families coming with children to stay with you shortly. There should be some flyers.
Oh, goodness.
I'd like you to try and go out and hand them out to the local attractions that you've started working with. Anywhere that you can think of that you could invite in the same day as I've got the families there.
Okay.
And start generating a bit of excitement.
Yep, definitely.
do,
Thank you,
yes.
we do. Yep.
The Merlin Court in Ilfracombe. For the past 4 months, Hotel Inspector Alex Polizzi's been working with the Shears family to transform it from a shambolic shrine to Camelot into a fresh, family-friendly hotel. Now Mike, Helen and Karina must relaunch the new look facilities.
Lots to do.
They're replicating Alex's designs on a further 2 bedrooms, ready for the arrival of 3 families who will each review their stay.
We just have to burn the midnight oil.
They need to prove they're plugged in to the family market by providing an itinerary of interesting seaside activities.
There's 18 questions there. That's quite interesting. You know, to sort of lead you places you wouldn't normally go.
And they're inviting the locals to a kids' fun day to try and convince them that Merlin Court is the perfect place for families.
Yeah, that's great. We've got a brand new sort of playroom with an area for the adults to sit and chill and have a coffee and that sort of thing.
It's a big job, demanding energy and teamwork.
You said you were doing the bathrooms today,
Yeah.
and I was doing the cleaning. Now you want to change because you don't fancy it. I think she's trying to get over doing the bathrooms today. She doesn't want to do them.
The next 24 hours are crucial for the survival of this family business, and I'm hoping against hope that I can see at last that each member of the family can pull together.
Mum does turn into Mumzilla when she's stressed, so it could be an interesting day.
Stage 1 of the relaunch begins with the arrival of the families, who Alex has invited in the hope that they will provide some glowing reviews.
Right, then my dad's got to. I think I need to go and get Dad home.
They desperately need good internet reviews to put them back on the map.
We definitely need good reviews because we did have some really bad ones.
If they fail, they're really going to fall flat on their faces and there's nowhere left to run.
Next morning, it's time for the Shears family to face what could be the most important day in Merlin Court's history.
Right, darlings, this is the big test. I want to see that it's not just a physical transformation, but I want to see that the working unit, really can function together. Smiley, cheerful, happy, very positive, please, and just be charming with everybody.
First to come under scrutiny, Mike's modernised breakfast.
Breakfast is incredibly important for the modern traveller.
Right, you are, yeah.
Can I just have fried bread and fried tomatoes, please?
Croissant and a banana.
Quite often it's the only meal they're going to eat in the place where they're staying.
Well, I'm not used to doing all these extra things with it, are we?
Morning. 4 eggs on the go at the moment.
Was this on white toast or brown toast? I've had a few swear words this morning.
It's the last impression they have before they walk out that door, and it's a chance for the hotelier to show generosity and quality. Good morning. Hi. How was your breakfast?
It was lovely, thanks. Very nice.
So, did you like your breakfast?
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. I love the sausages.
Hurrah!
Next, the three families head off to road test the suggested holiday activities.
Okey-dokey. Go on then, guys.
While Mike, Helen and Karina handle last-minute preparation for the family fun day.
That's not going to be enough. We don't be running around getting glasses when people arrive.
Is that all the best glasses we got then, is it?
It's a big old spoon, I suppose.
Difficult to know whether we're planning for 200 or 20.
I'm looking forward to a glass of wine, frankly.
Freaking museum here.
There's the harbour.
A nice little river here. When I first saw this, I thought this was a golf course.
Ilfracombe's town crier signals the Shears family's last chance to impress.
To Ilfracombe's Merlin Court Hotel!
I'm hoping this is going to be a huge success and a launching pad for the new Merlin Court.
There's a chance for the playroom to be put through its paces.
Look at that room, full of kids and full of happy mothers.
Some traditional seaside entertainment. With a not-so-traditional storyline.
By that lady called Alex or whatever. She's been coming into my hotel telling me that I can't cook sausages.
While whining and dining the adults, Alex and the Shears family can flog their hotel for all it's worth.
This is one that Alex made over for us.
Obviously, it's a great place to, for the kids to play and everything, so...
We did a bedroom, and they've done another 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
The locals appear to be lapping it up.
Yeah, really good.
It's really lovely to have somewhere like this in Ilfracombe.
Wow, this is beautiful.
I really like the idea of targeting the family, the young family market. I think they'll find a niche.
Today has shown me that there are people in Ilfracombe who want to support you, who have enormous goodwill for you. There is business out there. You just have to go and get it.
Merlin Court is in dire need of some magical reviews. So have the three families fallen under its spell?
Okay, so do you want to hear what your guests in the new bedrooms thought?
Yes.
Yes.
There is a common thread, which is that all three families felt that they hadn't seen enough of you two. We didn't see Helen or Karina, just Mike. As a family-run business, maybe we should see more of them as well. Dining area and lounge, again, a huge success. Play area for younger children, fantastic. Listen to this, the breakfast was 110% excellent.
Ooh.
Full marks to the host. Good itineraries, were very informative as to where to go, what to do. Thank you, well done. We really enjoyed our stay and would recommend it to any family, which is pretty bloody good, I would say. So, every time someone comes here and has a good time, get them to write you something.
Yeah.
You have pulled together. I have seen a difference. I'm very happy with the fact that the rooms have been done. But now you have to keep on that path. And I want you to go forward thinking that this is just the beginning.
Definitely.
Yes.
Well, I shall be keeping a beady eye on you from afar.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for all your help.
My pleasure.
I know they've still got a long way to go, but the important thing is they now have 3 good reviews which are going to be posted on internet review sites and which they can use on their own website. And if they go on, they're going to be able to use all this experience as a launch pad for future success.
It's given us a new lease of life, really, to get on and do things and
More energised,
and
more
enjoy it.
motivated. The future was looking pretty bleak before.
Now we've got a clear vision of the future.
Yeah.
And how it can be if we all pull together. Merlin Court is back on the map.
Blackpool is very well-known tourist attraction. This time I'm 20 minutes down the road in St Anne's, which is supposed to be a more laid-back place. But at the Seacroft, owner Georgina's approach to running her 8-bedroom B&B is anything but relaxed.
I'm a little bit of a control freak, I suppose. But I just like things nice. The 2 main things I check really. One is smears on the taps and chrome, the other one's pubes. We can't have no pubes.
After a career teaching business studies, 2 years ago she decided it was time to finally put into practice what she preached.
This is my big opportunity to not just talk about theory, but to really do it all, you know?
It was a decision inspired by fond memories of growing up in her parents' Blackpool guest house.
This is where it all started. My parents moved here when I was about 9 years old. In the 80s, it was always sunny. There was lots of guests around, you know. My dad and mum, in my head, made it look effortless. And I thought, I can do that.
But times have changed, and with her B&B almost empty outside the summer season, Georgina doesn't have nearly enough guests of her own.
In the first year, we made a £20,000 loss. The second year, we lost 10,000, so we're 30,000 down.
To make matters worse, a shock bill for £50,000 of unforeseen repairs has forced husband Jamie to work away from home to keep the Seacroft afloat.
How are you doing?
Yeah, not so bad. We've had a couple of enquiries for next year, but nothing for the next few weeks, or December or January.
And it's left their relationship under strain as she struggles to cope with running the B&B.
She can be away 2 or 3 times a week, so... And I'm literally on my own. Apart from my parents. I won't talk about that. Have you sprayed that for a whole minute? And waited? Have you?
Yes.
Have you really?
Yes.
I bet you haven't.
Yes, man, Fiora.
Yeah, bugger off. I rely on them, and I've probably been too reliant, and I think that's to do with my own confidence. When we're quiet, I can probably handle up to about 6 people on my own. When it starts getting beyond that, it's tricky.
Now with the business and Georgina both at breaking point,
I despair sometimes. Once the savings have run out, then we've nothing left.
she's hoping I can help save her struggling seaside B&B from sinking without trace.
This is like a last chance saloon.
Experience tells me this isn't going to be easy, though. I always get nervous when I'm coming to a seaside town. There's always a lot of competition.
I'm just at that crossroads now as to where we go next. If nothing can be done, which I hope that's not the case, then I'd have to pursue other options.
It's quite hard to find your niche in the market and enough customers to fill your room so that you get your share. First impressions aren't great. The Seacroft's public face certainly isn't doing much to help it stand out from the crowd. It looks like a classic Victorian building, a bit old-fashioned signage. Don't exactly set my world on fire, but you know, I've seen a lot worse, frankly. But it's hardly the most inspiring sight to lure in passing trade. Let's see if things get any better inside.
Hi.
Georgina and
Nice to
Alex.
meet you. I'm Georgina. Welcome to the Seacroft.
Thank
How was
you.
your journey?
Good.
Good.
It's freezing cold.
Sorry about that.
And you can't help that. Should we go and have a
Yeah,
quick chat?
I'd like to go into the bar.
Thank you. The welcome's certainly warmer inside, but there's one burning question on my mind. Tell me about why you bought this place and what you thought it was going to be like.
Yeah, I ask myself the same question quite often. After teaching for 16 years, I decided to look for a career change, and my parents had a history in hotels, so I thought, why not? Let's go for it.
And you've had a tough 2 years.
It has been a tough 2 years, yeah.
You're still smiling, though.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why.
Have you picked out a room for me?
I have, yeah.
Lead on, then.
OK, follow me.
Priced at £85 per night, including breakfast, Georgina's booked me into the Seacroft's executive double room.
OK, this is room 3, and you have a view of the church.
What on earth is that abomination on my bed?
That is a swan.
Well, I definitely don't approve of that.
Thank you.
It's a bit like the pointed loo paper. I hope you haven't done that too. If it's all right with you, I'll look around on my own, then I'll come back and find you.
That's fine, all the rooms are open.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank
you. First impressions aren't bad. In fact, the terrible towel origami is an oddly over-the-top touch given the rest of the room. There is a nice coffee machine, which is definitely a step up from the ordinary B&B. Let's see the bathroom.
It's the best we've got, best we can do. So I'm sure she'll find bits and pieces that she wants to improve. That's fine, that's why she's here. So she's a hotel inspector, a little bit like an Ofsted inspection for a teacher, I suppose. But
Well, this is certainly very smart and recently done. An incredible array of toiletries, frankly, for bed and breakfast. I don't know quite what this stuff is. Shoe shine, sewing kit. I mean, it's slightly over-egging the pudding. Georgina clearly has high standards, but she's providing far more than the basics I'd expect in a B&B. It's not just my executive room either. Everything is noticeably, remarkably clean. This bathroom, I can see even from here, looks somewhat more dated than the one I'm blessed with. However, there is soap here, there's a flannel, there's all the stuff that I had in my bathroom. So she's not just putting on the Ritz for me. It must be costing her a fortune, but downstairs in reception, she's clearly hit on an unusual idea to make money, not spend it. I see a Seacroft mug here, which must be part of the merchandising experience. There's a Seacroft t-shirt, there's a Seacroft baseball cap. I really dislike this. And I think it misunderstands the basic transaction that you make with a guest in a bed and breakfast, which is to provide them with a bed, bath and breakfast and do it to the best of your ability. This isn't the business that Georgina should be engaged in. I'm at the Seacroft in Lytham St Anne's. Owner Georgina's extravagant toiletries and branded souvenirs are more five-star hotel than seaside B&B. But in the bar and breakfast room, it feels like I've been sent to the headmistress's office. Well, just to start with, all of this signage, I mean, it's so bossy.
Please do not bring own food into the bar or communal areas. Children under the age of 18 will not be permitted in the bar area after 9 o'clock. I mean, this is a really ugly area, and there's no way around it. It's just mad.
I'm going to have to tackle this dated decor, but first I think Georgina needs a quick lesson in the art of the warm welcome.
One of your taglines is a home away from home. You know, this isn't very home away from home. You know, under 15s, no drug dealing on the premises. I mean, this is hardly an inner city pub where you have to announce that to
That's
people.
a licensing requirement.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be there.
Oh, right, OK.
Her rigorous approach to rules and regulations isn't the only problem.
This room is a terrible mishmash.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, chandeliers and this rather expensive feature wallpaper.
We inherited that.
She might have inherited the poor first impression guests are getting in here, but the same can't be said for the one they're getting outside.
So did you change the signage?
Yeah.
To what you have now?
Yeah.
I'm not madly in love with your signage.
I'm sure the dated exterior and unwelcoming public areas aren't doing anything to pull in punters, but it can't be the only reason she isn't busy.
What are you failing at?
The main thing that we feel we're failing at is that we are not driving sales or finding alternative revenue streams for the property.
You seem like a very good advocate for your establishment. Do you get out and about enough to...
No, if Jamie's here, it's not so bad, but when I'm on my own, there's a steady flow of things. I have to go food shopping, we buy everything fresh daily, and then laundry turns up at certain aspects of the day.
But surely you don't have laundry come every day?
No, that's just once a week.
I think I've put her on the defensive, but instead of making excuses, she needs to make time to market her B&B. And given her generosity in the bathrooms, there's something else I want to know.
What does it cost you to put a room on? You know, this is a standard question of mine.
On average, across all the rooms, it's about between £15 and £20 per room.
Does that £15 include breakfast?
No.
You've got quite a lot of toiletries in the bathroom. I'm going to analyse all those costs with you.
In any B&B, margins are tight, so I want to make sure she isn't giving away her profits with the freebies. And I've heard that could be even more vital soon.
I'm very worried because I believe Jamie's giving up work next month, isn't he?
He's considering doing this.
The only reason, really, you've kept afloat in these last 2 years is because of Jamie's job.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a very difficult consideration. But I've got to the point where when we are busy, it's just too much for me on my own.
The rooms are immaculate. They're not, you know, high-end particularly, but what you've done has been very well considered and they are immaculate. All of that is wasted unless you have people filling them.
It's textbook avoidance tactics. She's struggling to run the B&B, and I'm starting to suspect she's just focusing on the easy bits like cleaning and finding ways to avoid tackling the tough stuff like marketing.
Instinctively, she feels like she has to have an answer for everything. She spends hours here every week with absolutely nobody here. You know, what is she doing?
Gosh, that's been a challenge. I've had a right grilling. It's always difficult to receive criticism, but this is constructive criticism. Not many millionaires work for anybody else, you know, so if you're going to be a millionaire, then you've got to work for yourself.
In the cold light of day, even a cursory inspection of the accounts reveals her numbers just don't add up.
Overall for 2016, she had 23% occupancy. Overall for 2017, she had 27% occupancy. 4% improvement in a year. When you're starting from such low basis, it's really not enough. I think she's probably astonished at her inability to fix this. I'm sure that she thought that she was going to be able to make this better quicker. I'd love to know how other places of comparable size or slightly bigger are doing in the same business environment.
I can advise hoteliers how to improve their offering until I'm blue in the face, but if occupancy is a problem for all the B&Bs in a particular area and there just aren't enough guests to go round, it makes my job a lot harder. But that's not a subject for an empty stomach.
Morning.
Morning, how
are you?
I'm really well,
Good to see you.
I looked at the menu.
Fabulous.
I'm definitely going to want some poached eggs. I might have a sausage, if you think it's a good sausage. And then I'll have some brown toast, please.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee. Strong. Thank you, darling, that's lovely.
Although I'm her only guest, Georgina's called in reinforcements.
Can I take anything in?
Yeah, you can take that in then, but just get a glass of water as well.
Right.
With husband Jamie away, Mum Evelyn and Dad Fred are on hand to help out.
Okay.
Right, okay.
Good luck with that.
Oh, thank you. Do you sleep well?
I slept. It's so quiet here. It's lovely.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you, darling.
Ooh, it's a feisty one.
Were you happy when Georgina said she wanted to go into this business, or did you think it was a bad idea?
Well, no, I could understand why she wanted. I mean, she'd been brought up with us. We've always been in business, but I just explained to her, but it's hard work.
Yeah.
But if you'll get out of it what you put into it.
Do you see eye to eye with Georgina?
We get by. We're not so bad. She panics sometimes, and she's no need to do. I'm more practical, you see, down to us. You've got to be ready for everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
One thing she clearly wasn't ready for were my initial impressions of the B&B.
Sometimes things she says are very difficult to hear, especially when you've thrown her heart and soul into it, you know?
To me, it's constructive criticism. Whatever she finds, she's not being nasty. She's just, trying to put points over, and this is what you listen and how you learn.
But for now, Georgina has more pressing matters on her mind.
You ready for some poached eggs?
Yeah.
Right. Is that the most important poached egg in the world? Just chuck those in the bin for me.
Thank you.
What really should be a simple enough order seems to have put her in a spin.
I told you to be poached egg, didn't I?
Oh, no, I hate doing poached eggs. They're like my least favourite thing in the world to do.
Even something as straightforward as cooking one breakfast clearly takes a team effort here.
Wish Jamie was here. He does the poached eggs, Jamie. You got some black pepper for me? Oh, yeah, out there, thanks.
Despite the flap over my food, when it arrives it's actually very nice.
So I wanted to ask you, as a hotelier yourself, you must have an opinion about what Georgina's doing wrong.
I do criticise sometimes, but nothing. It just causes a bit of an argument, so that's it.
No, I know. I mean, you never want to hear criticism from anybody, let alone your parents.
No.
But it's obviously something's not working, because otherwise I wouldn't be here.
Although Georgina seems to struggle to admit she's wrong, after a good night's sleep and a nice breakfast, I'm struggling to see why she isn't busier.
I'm very anxious about this one because I just don't have any answers at my fingertips.
Is that table clear, Dad?
Yes, yeah.
I need to know if low occupancy is unique to the Seacroft, so I'm meeting Tim Dixon, tourism manager for Lytham St Anne's, to see if other B&Bs are in the same boat.
I'm working with a small bed and breakfast, 8-room bed and breakfast called Seacroft, which is not very far away from here.
Okay.
I wonder if it's come across your radar.
I don't think we're doing that much with the Seacroft in terms of linking up. I'm not sure whether they are fully up to speed with all of the events programme going on this year. Those B&Bs that are plugged into all the events and are working with us are doing very well for themselves. So
that is not true, unfortunately, of the Seacroft.
It's a shame. We carry things on our website, social media we're very strong on, and also there's the Tourist Board Marketing Lancashire as well who can offer support. I can meet them and see what I can do to help in terms of raising their profile.
I need to get Georgina to come and see you.
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
More than willing to help.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so
Not a problem.
much.
Happy to help.
Georgina wasn't kidding when she told me she wasn't driving sales. Rather than going out, banging the drum for a B&B and scaring up some business, she's been sitting at home, fixating about the toiletries and waiting for the laundry to come. I've seen and heard enough. If she wants the Seacroft to stop making a loss, I need to get her to start facing facts.
I went to the tourist office and they said that you're not kind of knitted in to the fabric of their marketing.
I've been to speak to them.
But I think you need to understand that they do a lot of outreach and you need to be plugged in a much more proactive way.
It's not that I haven't tried, I have made attempts, especially in the early days, to do that. I've kind of been distracted by other things and taken care of them.
This is not a personal attack. I can see that you're kind of slightly like a rabbit in the headlights, like, what the fuck do I do now? But the reality is, Donna, you've invested in an area in particular where other people are doing well. So there clearly is a market, you're just not getting your share of it. The best way you can help yourself is by finding people who have an appetite to come and stay to your place.
While we're finding a way to fill her empty rooms, I want to be sure she has a firm grip on profit profit margins when guests do stay. So I would encourage you, please, to work on those figures that I asked you. I'd like to know how much it costs you to put on a single room. I'd like to know how much it costs you to put on a double room.
I've already started both of those things.
You know, you said between 15 and 20 quid. I want it listed. I want it listed. I want a single, because it's going to be different for a single and a double and a triple, isn't it?
Okay.
I want you to really analyse costs. But I also want Georgina to examine her overbearing attitude to rules and regulations. I think somehow you've approached this a bit like a teacher.
Possibly.
Because there's a lot of do's and don'ts and do's and don'ts. You need to take down some of the signs, think about what your real house rules are. Think about what you really want to say to people. The problems don't end there. The public rooms are depressing and dated, so I want to get rid of the dreadful feature wallpaper, ugly carpets and jumble of mismatched furniture to create a modern, welcoming place to relax. Honestly, your rooms are fine. There's nothing that would put you off. This is a bit off-putting. I'm going to try to give you a kind of fresher look down here. It won't necessarily drive people to your door, but once they're here, we can make it a nicer experience for them. To help attract passing trade, outside I'm going to replace her awful signage too. But if we really want to turn this place around, our main priority is clear. The marketing and the sales side is what we really have to focus on.
Brilliant.
But you know, we need that. That's going to take a little while to get a strategy together.
Okay. Oh God, do I cry now?
And I'm sorry that it's
harsh, but I appreciate it.
Making the Seacroft more appealing to guests when they get here is easy, but in a crowded market, selling it to a wider audience isn't. It's bloody hard for me to have to leave without being able to give her a kind of a roadmap for how we're going to make it more successful, but I think it's just honest.
It was a little bit tough to hear. The tourist board, who I have spoken to historically in the past, who they've never shown sort of any great interest. If they demand my presence, so to speak, then I shall go and make their life very busy in the next few days, I think.
The bright spot in all this is that other people are doing the same thing and they're doing better than her, so it is possible.
There's some things that I didn't want to do, particularly for a variety of reasons, none of which sound really good now.
I've been called in to help the Seacroft in Lytham St Anne's, but after challenging owner Georgina over her unwelcoming public rooms and non-existent marketing, she's found it hard to face up to her failings.
I was quite upset after Alex went before, and the reason for that was because, you know, you put heart and soul into a place like this, and when somebody's sort of saying to you that you respect that things, you know, perhaps aren't great.
Parents Fred and Evelyn are only too aware she doesn't find it easy to take advice, and I've clearly ruffled some feathers with mine.
We don't know exactly what was said, so...
No.
But sometimes it's better for a criticism to come from somebody else.
Rather than
us.
Yeah.
You know, because she'll take it on board.
Yeah.
Just makes you feel very sad that the amount of effort you put in still isn't enough.
But the B&B's never made a profit, and I suspect the amount of toiletries she's putting in the rooms is part of the problem.
I'm probably a little bit generous. I like nice things. We've chosen nice soaps and shower gels and shampoos for the rooms. It's Jamie that's reined me back, because otherwise there'd be bathrobes and slippers in here.
Every hotelier should aim to exceed guest expectations, but pretending to be something you're not is a fast track to the bankruptcy courts. The key is to be the best you can be and make sure everyone knows about it. The first step is getting Georgina to take up local tourism manager Tim's offer of help to raise the Seacroft's profile with visitors to the area.
Thanks for meeting with me today. I just wanted to know what you could help me with.
OK, we have a website called Discover Fylde. We can put an entry on there for you and link through to your own website from there. We also do a lot of work on Facebook and Twitter. Now, the events programme we've got here is phenomenal. We've got 30,000 people for the Kite Festival literally out here at the end of August, early September. The 1940s weekend down in Lytham. We have 45,000 over the weekend. And the Lytham Festival, we expect nearly 60,000 people this year. So that's 130,000, 140,000 people.
My main issue now is to look at outside of those times.
Right.
Because I want to run the place, 12 months of the year.
Yes.
Could you help with that as well?
We have a tourist information centre that's open 600 yards from your front door. You need to be down there quite often. They need to know who you are. They need to know what you offer.
There's clearly a lot going on here, and Georgina's missed a trick not marketing herself to the many niche groups who come to St Anne's. But her analysis of costs has me worried. She doesn't know who she is or what she's offering. I think Georgina's got delusions of grandeur. What's she doing? Offering shower caps and shoe cleaning kits and a welcome letter that costs her 5p a time to print out. I mean, it's lunacy. I do feel like this trip is make or break. You know, I need to find out other avenues for business. Otherwise, how on earth is she going to fill these rooms? Hopefully, meeting Tim will help. But I've hit on a couple of ideas to show her she has to think creatively about finding potential new markets herself, too.
Hello. Hi, Alex. Come this way. Nice to see you again.
Thanks. First, I want to check out progress on my plan to make better use of her unwelcoming public rooms by creating a fresh, modern space for guests. Wow, it looks huge, first of all. And second of all, you realise that actually the furnishings are doing it a disservice.
It's really refreshing to see it like this. I'm very excited.
I got your spreadsheet with the homework, what it costs you to put on a room, and some of it makes pretty shocking reading. Okay. So I want to take you upstairs and immediately show you how to strip away some of the costs.
Right, okay, that's fine, yeah, that's brilliant.
At least one thing's already been stripped out of the room since my last visit. Ah, well, I'm glad to see that at least my time here has not been wasted. No more swans.
No, just monkeys in the bathroom. No, I'm kidding.
The truth is, you're going to hate me doing this. But I want to show you how these very few things are going to make a massive difference to your bottom line.
Okay.
Okay? You've got 2 shampoos and 2 soaps.
Right.
You can have one or the other. They're sharing a bed, they can share a soap.
Okay.
2 shower caps, completely unnecessary. Again, I'll let you have 1. How can you be spending 42p for a toilet roll?
That might be a miscalculation.
I hope so. How could you be spending £1.50 a day on cleaning products?
I've got a very frivolous housekeeper.
You're not a 5-star luxury hotel. So, by taking out these few things, you could save £136 a room a night.
Right.
Which is over £7,000 a year.
Right, okay.
Individually, each item doesn't cost much, but added up, her over-generosity is gobbling up profits. And with husband Jamie here today, there's another loss of income looming. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Yes, yes.
So you're still planning to give up your well-paid regular job to come and sit on a sofa and drink tea with your lovely wife?
I must be mad.
Like you do.
Yes, that's the plan still.
That is the plan.
Yes.
I'm not going to say anything. I mean, I personally think you'll start raving mad, but there you go. Now we've got to make sure that this place becomes busy enough for it to be justified.
We certainly do.
But before I do that, I want to challenge you to really try and see this place as someone who walks in would. It's incomprehensible to me why you have the kind of Seacroft branded line. Following in the footsteps of the Hard Rock Cafe, I assume, and other ventures like that. So these are not glamorous displays. I'd love to know how much of it you've ever sold. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I rest my case. I want you to clear them, clean them, flog them.
Okay.
While he's doing that,
yes,
I want us to busy ourselves in getting some business in. We've travelled 20 minutes down the road because I've got a plan. I want to show Georgina how some creative thinking could help her achieve the holy grail of hospitality, year-round bookings. So I have brought you to Blackpool, which is obviously a throbbing tourist hub, because I think we've got to make the most of your proximity.
Okay.
I've got our first step right here. Follow me.
Oh, how exciting.
The spectacular Grand Theatre attracts around 150,000 visitors a year. But competition for the tourist trade here is cutthroat, so it isn't her audiences I want to talk to Chief Executive Ruth Eastwood about. How many shows do you do here a year?
Well, we're open pretty much all year round, but in terms of the number of shows, probably about 120, 125, but each show could have 8 performances in it, you know, so like
125 different shows?
Yeah, made up of 380 different performances. So,
Gosh.
Yeah, so we're busy.
Busy, yeah.
If we could get into housing some of these people for the weeks that they're here.
Yeah, brilliant.
It would be 7 days of accommodation.
Oh, great, yeah.
Do you think that's kind of an idea that might work?
We have we call it a digs list, and you go on the list and visiting companies can download it from our website, or they can ring us up and get it, and then they can decide. And in the summertime, they'll be here from July right until September.
Wow, right, okay.
But also there are other casts that stay for longer. So Christmas time, pantomime.
Oh, brilliant.
The cast are here for 7 weeks because they rehearse here and then they stay here.
A place on the theatre's list could really help fill the Seacroft through the year.
So, what did you think? Do you think it was interesting?
Yeah, it was really interesting. It's definitely something I've never considered before.
Even if you only do it in certain periods.
Yeah, no, great idea.
But that's just one specialist group potentially booking rooms here. I want her to see that splashing her cash on pretty soap isn't going to win their business. Building relationships will.
Bart, this is Georgina,
Hi.
who's the owner of the Seacroft Bed and Breakfast.
Bart runs tours with Nordic Walking UK, whose 60,000 members stride the length and breadth of Britain, whatever the weather. I'm hoping he can march much-needed tour guests straight to the Seacroft.
Let them arms swing really nicely. Imagine you're giving a handshake to the person in front of you.
The reason that we're here is that I heard on the grapevine that you want to expand Nordic Walking in this area. So you're looking for places that people can come and stay?
Come and stay and learn how to Nordic walk, or those who are already Nordic walkers to just join the regular walks or bespoken ones.
As a one-off payment, you get on their website, somewhere you can go and stay to do Nordic walking.
Oh, right.
So, Bart, we are refurbishing a bit Georgina's bed and breakfast so that there's a really nice area in which to sit and to hang out. And once that's done, I would really like to invite you to come and have a look at it.
That'd be fantastic.
Yes?
It's been a productive day, but before I go, I want to give Georgina a gentle reminder to start counting those pennies if she wants to make a profit.
Really, I want you to be absolutely ruthless with yourself about cutting anything out of the business that is costing you money unnecessarily.
Okay.
I want you to dot all the I's and cross all the T's.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Alex.
Oh,
Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. I'm feeling, after today, a lot more hopeful than I did after my first visit, because I think Georgina hasn't been an easy character to crack in some ways, has an answer for everything and definitely doesn't want to kind of let her guard down. I think she had completely lost her way, and with these new leads, hopefully that will give her renewed enthusiasm for the project.
In Lytham St Anne's, work's well underway to revamp the Seacroft's tired public areas, but accepting change hasn't been easy for owner Georgina.
I'm a bit nervous, really, about what it's going to look like when it's finished, of course. So I don't give control away very easily, as you probably realise. But...
She seems to be struggling with my decision to drag her dated signage out of the dark ages.
Wow, gosh, that is different, isn't it? Very modern, I have to say. I think it's going to take a bit of getting used to, but hopefully, while the light's behind it, it should hopefully draw more attention to it. Fingers crossed.
Unlike Georgina, I'm sure the smart signage will attract more passing trade.
Good afternoon, Seacroft.
Oh, hi, is that Georgina?
It is.
Hi, darling, it's Alex.
Hello.
If we really want to improve occupancy, though, we also need to follow up my idea to target some of the different niche groups looking for rooms here. So I have a surprise for Georgina.
We had quite a lot of interesting meetings last time I was with you, and I want to see if anything comes out of them, basically. Because I've arranged for actors who are in Blackpool to come and stay with you. They'll stay with you tonight, so I will be with you tomorrow morning to find out how their stay was.
The thumbs up from them could help secure the Seacroft a place on the Grand Theatre's accredited accommodation list. But I'm not done yet.
And then to add to your stress levels, after our lovely meeting with Bart, the Nordic walker, I have asked him to finish the walk he is leading tomorrow with a group of people at your place for tea and cake. Is that okay?
Yeah, fabulous. Thanks, Alex.
I'm hoping showing off the revamped public areas and her spotless rooms will convince him to book regular groups to stay at the B&B.
I'm excited. It's nice to put the place through its paces.
But with my thespians coming for one night only, Georgina really needs to concentrate on that first.
If you need anything, I should be downstairs.
Oh,
All right.
thank
Nice
you.
to meet you anyway.
Yes,
Enjoy.
you too.
The heating will just come on, so your room will warm up. Okay, so this is your room. Has a view of the bowling green.
I'm back at the Seacroft and I'm glad to see the old-fashioned frontage is a thing of the past.
Last time I was here, there was that awful sign.
Now we've got this very smart sign. And there's a lovely logo on the front door as well. So all in all, I'm very happy. But what will I find inside? With the unsold souvenirs gone, reception has been transformed.
Doesn't this look fantastic? Oh, it's such a relief not to have those nasty cabinets
I've got a big
here.
space there now, you see. So.
I know, don't fill it.
But it's just the beginning. When I first came, the breakfast room and bar were ugly and unwelcoming. Now they're modern and thoroughly guest-friendly. Using cool colours, swapping patterned carpets for contemporary stripes, and replacing the furniture has created a new area for guests to unwind in.
Gosh. Well, this looks so different. It's actually quite hard to remember what it was like before.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. It's awesome.
Good. You feel like you're somewhere that you know, that is professional, that's thought out. It certainly doesn't feel budget. It feels like a touch of class, really.
The decor isn't the only change for the better.
We got rid of all the signage, all that bossy signage. But even if I didn't know you'd been a teacher, I would have known you were bossy boots. So you had the actors check in yesterday?
Yes, I did, yes.
And they haven't been down for breakfast yet?
No, not yet. No, haven't seen them.
I'm really looking forward to see how their night's stay was, what they thought of their rooms.
Okay.
With the possibility of a place on the Grand Theatre's digs list and year-round bookings at stake.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Would you like to come this way?
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think your friends are already here, so if you would like to take a seat here, that'd be great, and I'll take your order.
Thank you.
Georgina's relying on Jamie to impress the guests with breakfast. The question is, has it been enough?
So, what did you think of it overall? And do you have any advice that we can use? And what did you think of the breakfast? And what do you think of the breakfast room? And give me some opinions.
I'm full, I'll tell you that.
Good.
Yeah, it was
That's
a really
good
nice
start.
big breakfast. Just about spot on.
Good old Jamie.
Good. And you think this room's nice and quite pleasant to sit in and all the rest of it?
It's very bright and airy.
Really bright, and I feel like it could be full and I'd still feel spacious and I'd still feel I can move and eat my breakfast without knocking the next person.
What we want is somewhere you arrive, it's warm, it's clean, you just want to feel comfortable, you want a really nice night's sleep.
Does it get the thumbs up from you?
Absolutely.
Seacroft?
Very
Brilliant.
enjoyable stay.
Oh, lovely, thank you.
The Seacroft's a hit, but with tour leader Bart and 15 of his Nordic walkers coming for tea and a tour of the B&B, we can't relax yet.
I want to help.
I have. I just want to ice these, actually, but
Okay.
these are the scones.
Lovely. How many should I put on for each one? And where do you want them? On the middle there?
Middle there, yeah, that'd be great.
2 on each?
Yeah, see how you go with that one. What are you doing?
Tour group bookings from Bart could help fill the Seacroft through the year, so the pressure's on. But as usual, Georgina has everyone rallying around to help.
Jamie, you know this morning, when I pull the icing bags out, where did you put them?
Thanks, love. Can I use this one?
I don't know, I haven't seen icing bags.
Oh, I've got it. Do you want them sliced in half? Is that what you're saying? Fine. Will do.
Alex.
No problem, darling.
It's all a bit crazy.
It's the first time I've seen Georgina facing a full house, and it's obvious just how much she relies on her family.
She's got a team of people in there, and it's still panic stations.
But with my guests arriving, now's the time to keep a cool head.
Hi. Hi, Bart. All right. Thanks for all coming. Come in and follow me.
Can I take your coat for you?
Right, if you'd like to follow me.
Thank you.
This is my amazing new lounge breakfast room.
Thank you.
Hi, welcome to the Seacroft. I'm just going to come around and take some orders for tea and coffee, if that's all right. And then, as you're going to bring everything out afterwards, so what would you like? Tea and tea, so 3 teas.
So this is the room that I did for Georgina, and we're really pleased with it. I've opened a couple of the doors upstairs on the first floor so that anyone who wants to can have a look at the bedrooms. Yes?
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello.
Start with one and I'll bring you another one.
With so many guests in at once, today is exceptional. But I'm starting to think having an extra pair of hands around might not be such a bad thing.
She needs a lot of support the whole time. I think it is probably a good thing that Jamie's left his job and come to join her.
The big question is, has Team Georgina managed to wow Bart?
What did you think of the rooms?
Fantastic. I like the fact that they're very light and spacious.
I'm really keen for you two to work together. Do you think that there's opportunities to do so?
Absolutely, yes. I think especially when it comes to attract people from outside who might be coming to this area as a Nordic walking destination.
Great. Well, we're really keen, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect.
Good. Thank you, darling. Thank you so much for bringing the group and for looking around and for being so positive.
Today's gone really well, but I've only shown her 2 potential new markets. Georgina still has to get out and find as many of those out-of-season guests as possible and really follow things through with the local tourist office.
We did it.
We did it.
I don't know how, because the odds were against it for a moment.
There was a little bit, yeah.
We know that you're busy in the summer months. It's the other bloody 9 months of the year that are difficult. And, I think we've made a good dent in those 9 months between the Nordic walking and the theatre crowd. So I do not want you to sit on your laurels. Go and tell people about yourself.
Yeah, no problem.
I think that's definitely the way forward.
Great. Thank you, Alex.
My pleasure. Cheers again.
Cheers.
Another hotel down. I can hardly believe it. I think this has been a much more positive experience than I was expecting. When I first came here, I found a very dated guest house, and what I'm leaving behind is a much more stylish bed and breakfast.
I just hope Jamie knows what he's let himself in for.
You've got a job to do as well now.
I've got a job to do now, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Who's the boss?
Yeah, well, that's for
Who's the boss? No, who's the boss?
That's
Just say it, say it.
You're the boss.
Thank you.
There you go.